In this episode, we are going to take a look on how to create shadow mapping in Panda3D. So the end result will look like this. So we will have these Christmas trees and this rotating light and this floor model. And as you can see now, as the light rotates around this tree, it casts shadows, not just this tree but all three trees. And also these cubes are casting shadows. So I'm going to use the same Christmas tree I'm used in the previous episodes, and this tree is in my GitHub repository, and also I'm going to add the code to this episode to my GitHub repo, and the link to that repository will be in the video description. So let's get started. So here in Blender I created this huge plane which will act as a floor, and I'm just randomly added some cubes, and I'm just also joined the plane with the cube, so now it is only one object, and also exported this out as an exe file. So back in PyCharm I created this class lights and shadows. I'm set the background to pure black, and also moved the camera on the y-axis -12. Then I created a trees empty notepad, and here I'm loading the first tree, setting its position, and reparenting the tree 1 to the trees empty notepad, so it's no more empty. And also here is the tree 2, loading the same tree file and setting its position, and also reparenting this to the trees notepad, so not to the renderer. Then here is the tree 3, loading the same model, setting its position, and also reparenting this to the trees notepad. And lastly, I'm reparenting the trees notepad to the renderer, so the trees will be visible. Here I'm loading the floor, what I'm just exported from Blender, setting its position, and also reparenting the floor to the renderer so it is visible. Here is the light model, which is just a sphere, and its scale, and also reparenting this to the renderer. Here I'm creating the point light. I already showed this in episode number 19. I'm creating a point light notepad and attaching to this notepad the point light. And here I'm setting for the trees that set light the point light notepad, so that this light will affect the trees. Here is the ambient light's color, also the ambient light notepad, so that attaching to this notepad the ambient light, and also setting for the trees the ambient light. So let me run it, and we have this scene, and we also need to add to this floor, because as you can see it is not just pure white. We should add the light to the floor so that it will also affect the floor, and this is just easy. Here before the task manager I'm just going to add the following code: self.floor set light, and I'm going to add the PLNP or the point light notepad, and also I'm going to add the ambient light to the floor, so floor.set light, and ALNP or the ambient light notepad. So first we added the point light notepad, which is this one, and then we added the ALNP or the ambient light notepad, which is this one. And now the floor is no more that pure white, so it is affected. You can see on the, especially on the cubes, that they are affected by the light. So the back sides of the cubes or the top sides are not as, they are black or dark. So to actually create the shadow mapping, it is fairly easy. It is only 2 lines of code. So here, after I created the point light node, after this light, after this line, I'm going to set the p light that set shadow caster, set shadow caster to true, and also give it the so-called buffer size. So first I'm going to add 512 by 512, and then next line is actually tell the renderer to create the shader or set the shader, and tell the renderer that set shader auto, shader auto. So this will generate the needed shader. So with this 2 line we created shadows. So let me see. Now, as you can see, our trees are casting shadows on the floor, and not just on the floor, but on the other trees. As you can see, as it moves, it casts shadows, and also these cubes are also casting shadows. So yeah, it is fairly easy. If you wanna learn a little bit more, just go to the Google and type in Panda3D lighting, and here if you scroll down you will find the shadow mapping section of the manual, and by default the size of this resolution map is 512 by 512, and if I'm going to take out this rotation and I'm just going to make the light's position to, so here self.light model set position 4 on X and -4 on Y. So now it doesn't rotate, but as you can see 512 by 512 gives these kind of shadows, so it has not that great resolution. I'm just going to change this to 1024 by 1024, and of course the bigger is this number, so this shadow map, it takes more, it needs more processing power. So let me take a look. So now we have a little bit more smooth shadows, but just as I said, if you give it higher numbers, then it will need much more processing power. And I'm going to add back this orbiting, and here I'm going to comment out this line. And as you can see, also with the shadow mapping, it runs on my old machine without any problems with 60 frames per second.